So before you get started with the program, you want to make sure you have the right equipment. And the first thing that starts with is where in your house is going to be your workout space. It could be the living room, it could be the basement, it could be your office or a den. As you can see here, I'm in my garage, but that hasn't always been the case. I first started this program doing it in the living room of our 700 square foot apartment in Washington, D.C. So I feel very fortunate now to actually have a better workout space with a nice view and plenty of area to work out in. But honestly, you don't need a ton of room. The mat that I have here on the floor is only about 6 by 6, and 99% of all of our exercises and movements are going to be within a 6 by 6 space. So you really don't need a huge room or a separate gym or anything like that to work out in. So in addition to space, we got to focus on the actual equipment that we're going to use. As you can see, it's pretty sparse. We don't use a lot of equipment as part of the BTN program, and that's one of the benefits. You don't have to go spending a lot of money on a bunch of new stuff. There's no wires, there's no rubber bands, there's no pulleys. It's kind of old school, body weight, and then dumbbells, kettlebells. As you see here, I have some light dumbbells that I use for certain exercises. These are, I think these used to be my mom's when growing up, when she used to do like the Jane Fonda videos and stuff, and I've just kind of started with them as a teenager playing sports and then brought them to college and have had them ever since. Sorry, Mom, if you want these back, maybe I'll just Venmo you. And then I have heavier dumbbells, so a set of 25 that I use for a lot of the curl work and a lot of the row work that we do as part of the program. So in addition to the dumbbells, and I'm laughing because in the previous cut I said dumbbells, but in addition to the dumbbells, you'll also see I have 3 kettlebells here as well. The kettlebells are really great because they just provide some versatility to some of the movements that we do as part of the BTM program. You can still do most of our exercises, if not all of our exercises, with just dumbbells, but I do highly recommend going out and getting some kettlebells as well. The reason I have 3, so I have one set, the pair here, that is lower weight. These are 20-pound weights. And then I have one larger one, a heavier one, that is 40 pounds. And so I'll use this for swings, I'll use this for high pulls, and a series of other exercises as well. So if you're thinking about getting kettles, and again, I do encourage you to do so, I have a 20-pound differential between the light set and the heavy set, and I think that's a really good ratio to go by. So if you get 10-pound kettles for a pair, then go out and get yourself a 30-pound kettle to go heavy. So in addition to the kettlebells and the dumbbells, I highly recommend getting an adjustable flat bench. Not necessary for the work that we do, but it will make some of the exercises just a little bit easier and more comfortable so you're not lying flat on the ground. You see this adjusts to various incline positions as well as to decline positions as well. But most of the work we do will be on the flat bench. So that's kind of it. A couple sets of dumbbells, some kettlebells, and a flat bench, and then just making sure you have an area, whether it's your living room, your basement, your office, or your garage, where you can consistently work out in. So in addition to the physical space and the physical equipment, you might also want to consider a couple other things. One is music. Music is played on the videos over the 10-day program, but you may not have the same taste I have, so you might want to have your own music and just mute mine. Mine is going to consist of some classic rock, some 80s hair bands, probably a lot of monster ballads, maybe some, definitely some country, and then a mix of other things, electric dance music, and a few other things that might not be your cup of tea when it comes to musical taste. So get your own music if you want. The other thing I'll mention, and I'll walk through this in a little bit more detail, is an interval trainer, which you can have one on your watch. You can find an app for your iPhone. I have one called Interval Pro, and it's great for the type of interval workouts that we do, and I'll walk through some of that here in a moment. So really, when you're talking about the equipment, it's space, dumbbells, kettlebells, maybe a bench. Again, not 100% necessary, but it is helpful. And then just figuring out what music really drives you and motivates you, and then the interval timer. Okay, so I'm going off camera here for a bit, so I'm just going to be a faceless voice, but I wanted to just talk a little bit more about the interval timer that I had mentioned. So I use an interval timer called Intervals Pro. It's an app that you can find in the Apple Store or download on the Android site, wherever people get Android apps. But it's a really great tool in order to set intervals for your example, for your 30 seconds on, your 20 seconds off, like we do as part of the BTM program. Now, I will say you don't have to download this. The videos that you'll see as part of the 10-day program do, in fact, have a timer on them. So you'll see it very clearly, 30 seconds, 20 seconds, when you're supposed to start and stop. But at some point, you might want to not use the videos, and so it would be helpful for you to understand the interval timer itself. So you see the picture there. That's what the app looks like if you want to download it. And then this next picture here just shows you how you can set the different intervals that you'd like to see. So you'll see at the top where you have you set your different intensity timing for work, and then your recover time. You see we have it set for 25-minute 3 rounds, work at 30 seconds, recover at 20. The number of interval sets is 10. The number of cycles, or is what I refer to as rounds, is 3, which gives us our 25 minutes. And then you have at the bottom, you can see we also have a warm-up of 20 seconds. So that's usually how the program videos will start, with sort of a quick 20 seconds just to kind of prepare mentally for when that buzzer is going to go off for the first 30-second work period. But again, it's a pretty straightforward app to get set up and download. But again, you don't need it if you're watching the videos, but at some point you might want to be able to do intervals on your own.